Hola comunidad, bienvenidos de nuevo. Vamos a tener una entrevista con the head of London Academy of Trading. Sorry, I just say that in Spanish because it's for Latin America.
It's okay.
So voy a continuar en inglés porque, claro, es en Inglaterra. So he's Mr. Paddy Oswald, which is the head of London Academy of Trading. Thank you for having me today. So let's start. Let's say that interview with knowing about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So how many years you've been working in finance as a trader, and a little bit of the history of who is or what is the London Academy of Trading.
Okay, yeah, so my name is Paddy Osborne. I started my trading career in 1987, trading warrants and convertible bonds for Japanese Bank.
Mm-hmm.
And I then worked for a software company for several years, and then I set up my own business. And I've been working with the Academy for 12 years since they started. So the London Academy of Trading was established in 2010.
Okay.
And I was there at the beginning.
Okay.
And I'm now the Dean and the Managing Director.
Amazing. So I remember one of the things that it was very interesting for me is when I see that London Academy of Trading is the first accredited.
Yes. Yep. So basically, the LAT, we are the first accredited academy in the UK to offer accredited qualifications in trading.
Okay, amazing. So yeah, that's one of the key why I came here. So.
Perfect.
Yeah. So what is the main focus for teaching to LATA students?
Yeah. So basically, most of the students, the vast majority, they want to trade their own money, make some money.
Mm-hmm.
Some small proportion, 5-10%, want to get a career, but mostly people want to understand financial markets and learn how to trade financial markets. So we look at four things. We look at fundamental analysis, looking at central banks, politics, that sort of thing, and the cause of market movements. We look at technical analysis and charts, like this one, to analyze price action, and then there's psychology, which is very important, to control emotions and to not make bad decisions, and then risk management, which is controlling the amount of risk you're taking to make sure that you don't lose too much.
Okay, yes. Yeah, so it's actually very important points that you mentioned the last two, is like psychology of trading and risk management, which is, for me, I think more than, let's say, 70% of what is trading.
Yeah, it's absolutely right, because if you can't control your emotions, you'll fail if you don't control your management. So what it means is if you're risking a limited amount, so you manage your risk, it means you can't double your money or make £1 million in a day, but that's not what we're here for. We're here to teach people structure and organise the process so that they can build some wealth over a number of months and years, not just be a millionaire. Anyone who promises this is lying. Yeah,
it's true. Because that is one of the things that I like to introduce as well to the academy, like Online FX, to say that we're introducing like the biggest risk to take. If you make a right, if you make a wrong, to recover that money, it's like, like it's going to be very difficult. So, risk management and psychology of trading, for me, I think is one. I think it is more important.
It is the most important thing, because everyone can understand fundamentals and technical analysis, but if you don't follow your rules because your emotions are flying away, then it's the end. And if you risk too much, sooner or later, maybe you win, but then you lose a lot, and then psychology comes back, you want a revenge, and the spiral straight down, and you're finished. So it doesn't matter, you can be successful, maybe for 1 day or 1 week or 1 month, but if you trade like that, always, you'll end up back at zero.
Yeah.
So this is, we teach capital preservation. It's absolutely essential.
Very important. It's like, as we say, like you have to make sure that you survive the market today to trade tomorrow.
Yes, exactly that. Yeah.
All right, thank you. So now we're going to talk about the trading career. Trading career is being introduced, even you mentioned it now. Like, let's say for people, so let's say schools, that they try to introduce like trading is learn two strategies, make a lot of money quick, make millionaires. So what would be your advice to that kind of a statement?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that kind of statement is wrong, it's incorrect, and it's misleading, and it's dangerous.
Yes.
So basically, it is not easy. To do anything, you have to learn how to do it properly, you have to be taught properly, you have to work hard, you have to concentrate, and you have to keep discipline. So it is not easy. There is no shortcut solution.
No.
So
Magic
there
strategies.
is no magic strategy. And even if there's a magic strategy, you still have to have the discipline to follow the strategy.
Yeah.
So if anybody promises a magic strategy, don't give them any money, because it's lies. So it's all about back to the discipline and structure and control, really.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. So the next question is kind of regarding as well as trading, but in that case is in the cryptocurrency. You know, cryptocurrency have made a lot of people rich, for sure. We know that, but as well, a lot of people, they've been in horrible situations. So, what is your opinion about the cryptocurrency and the value behind it?
Yeah, crypto is very interesting because it's a really good example of an asset that is only worth what someone's going to pay for it. And it's a very young market. It's got a very emotional audience in terms of the retail investors that have been playing in the crypto market.
Yep.
And so they're very susceptible to the ups and downs of emotions and the crowd behavior and all the classic young market behavior. So we've seen these huge spikes up in the price and then back down again, and then a few years later up again, and then up again, and now down again. So for me, I think what's happening now in June of 2022, and Bitcoin has just hit 25,000, having lost 60-70% of its value, it is becoming clear, it was already, but it's becoming clear to more people that cryptocurrencies are only worth what someone is willing to pay for them.
Yep.
Now, they are a representation of blockchain.
Yep.
Blockchain is a good thing, fantastic. It will for sure have many applications in the world of across the world in everything.
Yeah.
Not just money transfer, but in trading, in trade, international trade, everything. So blockchain is fantastic. How can you link the value of blockchain technology with the value of a coin? Okay. It's very difficult. So this is basically what I see here. I think, I'm sure Bitcoin and cryptocurrency will have another surge upwards at some stage. Will it reach the highs it got to in the last few months? Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. But it's a very emotional currency, or crypto is a very emotional market, very volatile, dangerous to trade.
Very dangerous.
If I was saying anything, maybe you just, when the market comes down, if it settles at whatever level, maybe buy some long term, sit on them, and wait for the price to go up in 1 or 2 years or whatever. But in terms of trading, it's quite dangerous.
Yep.
A couple of things I would say that it has an advantage for trading. One, it's volatile, so there's money to be made.
Yep.
2, it is 24/7, so it is always trading, so you don't have any gaps. And 3, because it's a relatively young market, it trades quite technically, and so the technical patterns that appear because of the behavior of the audience. So it is a market that's not bad for technical analysis. So yes, but the key thing is to manage risk as ever. Manage risk, keep control of the emotions.
Yeah, because this is one of the things that, even me, I can be honest, like I was trading cryptocurrency. And before I came to London Academy of Trading, I think I mentioned you I lost a lot of money because I went to trade Bitcoin. I'm very open. I lost around 20K in that time.
Yep.
And then I was at home and I was like, I don't understand, like I'm a financial broker, I understand about the market, how can I be failing? And then I realized that selling cars is not the same like driving cars.
Yeah.
So that's why I took the decision to study. Then, now I was like, now I understand why I lost the money. Because it's very volatile, market is very young. And something that I was last time reading as well, I'm kind of analyzing, what do you think about all those products that they create on Bitcoin, like ETF future markets, like, because they basically create like a extra volume there, which means it doesn't exist, because even sometimes you can do like a loan. I used to even trade, like put, let's say 10,000 in Bitcoin. The broker give you 5,000 in USDT, and then you can trade. But if the market went to 20% or 25%, they close it. But I was trading ETF, which I was just like with, with 10,000 pounds, I can basically create plus 5,000 they borrow me plus five times the ETF. So I was creating around 10 times more my real value.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this creation of
dangerous? Dangerous. It's dangerous. Basically, another reason why people fail is because they don't understand leverage, no matter how you do it, whether it's borrowing in Bitcoin and buying ETFs. But the fact is, you should, you know how much money you have. If you know how much money you're risking and how much you could lose, then you can manage your risk. And it's as simple as that. It doesn't need to be complicated. And understanding leverage is very important, because people tend to, when they take a trade, they will say, "Oh, look how much I can win." But actually, they should be saying, "Okay, if it goes wrong, how much will I lose?"
Exactly.
And as long as this amount they can lose is affordable and manageable, then you carry on and you do the trade. If it's too much and you're uncomfortable with that, you make a smaller trade. So it's so straightforward, it's so simple, and the problem that people have is that we are greedy, and we just want money, 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 and this leads us to behave in this way, which is ultimately very damaging. So it's important to understand leverage, how it works, what it means, and then once you understand it, and it's not that difficult, you just basically don't risk more than you can afford to lose on any single trade.
Because as you say, leverage is very useful tool when we use it with responsibility.
Yes.
As I say, it happened to me as well one time. I put one trade, I was 100% sure the trade was going to that direction. I put even how many times you were there telling us, don't do that, but I just say openly, because I was studying, I passed through that, I learned, because I make mistakes. I put bang, all in. That was not a trade, it was a casino.
Exactly.
And then it went wrong. Bye-bye. I lost the whole money.
It's you've got to be not greedy, and you've got to be patient. So the problem is, if you can double your money, you could lose the same amount, which is all of your money, and it's gone zero. You're finished, and you've got to wait again, save some more money. So my advice: don't be greedy. Learn what you're doing. Understand your own emotions, because people have different levels of hope and fear and greed and embarrassment in their own self. Understand about crowd behavior and how people behave in a crowd, because that affects the markets. And understand how fundamental politics, macro data, things that affect the markets, how they affect the markets, which markets they affect. Select the right assets that you want to trade. Crypto is the most volatile asset without really much underpinning the value of it, except demand from people who don't know what they're doing. So, is crypto the best thing to be trading? I would say not. There are much better things to trade, which are less volatile, less risky, and they are affected by real things that happen in the real world that we can see, rather than some technological things that baffle me.
Because that's very true what you're saying. Like last time I see, like, for example, Bitcoin one day, it went up 10% just because Mr. Elon Musk said something about Bitcoin. It went 10% in 5 seconds. So I was like, kind of like, this is not real and trustful asset, because it didn't move for a macro news or for a, let's say, a technical analysis. It just moved for one tweet. We know like a lot of markets, they moved for a new, but in that particular day, I kind of realized, like, it's a very young market. It's very easy
to clear, and this is why Musk has so much money, because he could take a position, then he puts a tweet out, and he knows it's going to go 10%. So whether he does that on purpose or not, it doesn't matter. The fact is, he does it.
Millions of people following him.
Millions and millions of people following him.
Actually, after that, I'm sorry to cut it there, actually, after that, the Security Exchange Commission warned him and said, don't do that again, because you're going to have problems. Because, of course, it's, as you say, I have millions of people, buy Bitcoin now, I put a tweet, 10% spots on my sell it.
Yes.
By
It's
this guy.
too easy. Too easy.
Yeah. But anyway, so, now another question, like, what is your point of view of the market today? You know, we have so much uncertainty. We have, unfortunately, war, like here in Europe, which is affecting inflation, with hitting England. Well, last week I went to the supermarket, I was like, what? When I see the price, I was like, no way. Like that kind of inflation, like in like economy of England is very, you know.
Well, the economy, I think the economy is going to struggle everywhere. And with financial markets, so there's the stock market, of course, which is the big thing, they're struggling now. And I think the reason for that is that central banks now have to start raising interest rates. And they cut quantitative easing, so they're not pumping money. And in January, the Fed stopped. They announced we're going to slash the QE, so we'll stop pumping money. And immediately the stock market started coming down. And it's now down nearly 20%. I think it could go further. I think already the first quarter of 2022, US was negative GDP. So I suspect we may have a recession in the US. You know, by the end of second half of this year, with huge inflation because of all the things we've got, supply chain issues because of COVID, a little bit of Brexit maybe, certainly the war. You know, we all know what's going on, and it's a very difficult situation for central banks because they can't. You know, they can raise interest rates to try to cut inflation, but at the end of the day, that's not going to help the supply chain. That's not going to stop Russia, you know, taking out Ukraine. So. It's a very difficult situation, but what it means is interest rate will go up, people will, you know, mortgages will go up, borrow and spend will be more expensive, people will spend less, company profits go down, so the stock market's down, and it's going to be a pretty bumpy second half of the year, I think.
So it's going to take quite long, I think, now for the economy to start to see a kind of little bit of fresh air, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But then, you know, economies do this all the time. They work in waves. When we had the COVID crash, and then since then the rebound has been very strong, particularly in America. Now, of course, things couldn't continue like that forever, and so now they're calming back down because the government has stopped, or the Fed has stopped pumping money. Interest rates going up. This is going to cause slowdown in the economy. So it's a very tricky problem. It's stagflation, stagnating economy, inflation. It's almost impossible to avoid, but we have to live through it. The sun will come up every day, we'll still be here, but we just have to wait and work through it.
But this is one of the, I think, of the good things about the trading career. Like, doesn't matter. I mean, it matters for us as a person living day to day, but if the market goes up or down, as a trader, we can take any position. So we can go short, we can
I was
go
going to
long.
say the advantage is that the markets are volatile and directional. So we have the dollar going up, so you know, euro dollar, sterling dollar going down. We have stock markets going down. We have you know, Bitcoin going down. So there are trends and opportunities for traders to make money from. And it's not from other people's misfortune. It's the fact is from the volatility created in the economy. You know, this does create opportunities for trading. So if you're, you know, if you understand what's going on and you're disciplined and controlled, you should be able to offset some of the inflation and some of the expenses with some trading profits.
So that's what I've been like, kind of like, you know, like I wanted the Latin American market. Understand, like the trading is one of the career, like as you say, some of the assets is 24/7. The, let's say, traditional market, like a forex bonds charges like 5 days a week, 24 hours as well. So it doesn't matter if it goes up down, if we have like the right setup, we
Yeah,
can do
and
trades.
it's very flexible as well. If you have a couple of hours a day, you can trade just for 2 hours, very short term, and then finish and do another job.
Yep.
If you want to trade longer term, we trade longer term. We're also introducing funding with our courses, hopefully in the next few weeks, where with a course you get $50,000 of real money to trade.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
This is a new thing.
I think I'm gonna be here. Gonna be interested in that.
So this is something else. Obviously there are conditions and rules attached to it, but so this is another opportunity for people, because people may have some money to pay for a course, but maybe not enough money to make it worthwhile to do trading, and so we're going to give that opportunity as well.
Okay, that's amazing. I'm very interested to come back to the academy. And do you remember the last time I went to see one of the presentations back in I think that was 3 months ago.
Trader show?
The trade show,
Yes,
yeah. And I just want to mention that because I post this analysis. Do you remember I showed you like I was seeing like a
Yes.
head and shoulders in Bitcoin.
Yes.
When I went there, I asked you what do you think about it, and you were giving me some analysis. You were like, yeah, can be. But be honest, I was kind of. I want to show that what I've been studying, is gonna give me the result.
Yeah.
I keep the position, and basically.
Good.
I mean, as you say, I know happy some people might be losing money, but that's the market. But we went short in Bitcoin, so with the crash, of course, we avoid to hold the Bitcoin, which basically we get the money, but we do some ETF in short.
Yeah.
So 3 days ago we hit the target after 3 months.
Fantastic.
Yeah, like very good.
Very satisfying.
Yeah. LET showed me all these good strategies how to.
Good.
So I feel this is the interview for today. Thank you for your time. And as I say, I bring my diploma, which is being awarded here, and then I'm going to take my picture. Normalmente se toman una foto aquí, entonces lo vamos a tomar ahora. I say that normally you came here and take a picture, but I was flying that time.
Yes,
Remember,
yes,
I was flying different countries.
Yeah.
So this is London Academy Trading, and it's been a pleasure to be with All Latin America, Mr. Osborne. It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for all the patience you have with me when I was in the academy. Because I know you are a very patient man. So thank you very much, and the next video, pues vamos a ir al siguiente video. Gracias comunidad, hasta la próxima. Chao, chao.